to get that. As and how I need. Okay. Hello, everyone. Or something to that effect. I am now bringing up the wheel to decide what body type we have. And I'm also not putting my words together well at all, but we have the wheel. There we go. Let's spin that. And let's see, I did shuffle these, so yeah, should be a bit less ordered. Should be a little better for overall what we get. We've got SUV. Okay. I don't know, I would say it keeps choosing the same bodies, but how different can you actually get? There's only so many bodies to select from. Now we have these, front, rear, mid and spin again. These be the engine positions. Hi. Wait, I'll go in the chat. Yay. Hi. Yeah. Imagination. Oh, my hands aren't on there. Wait. The power of imagination. I don't know. Anyway, we have a front engined layout, so we need something that will support that. And we need to select the size of the body. So we will go large. Okay. Interesting. So we've got front. I can minimize the wheel for now. Imagination. So we've got if I just check this, we've got front engined. We've got a large SUV body. Yeah, so a large SUV body with the engine in the front. Let's see. This one looks like it'll do for now. I am good, and I am doing a stream of cars and something like that. So I need to get the wheel up again anyway. We can use this wheel and just rename it. There we go. I almost did that correctly. Almost. Okay. We have got partial carbon fibre. So far, this is turning out quite well. We have to choose our chassis type. Spin that. I mean, I should probably spin it myself so it doesn't, you know, come up with two consistent results. But anyway, we've got a unitary chassis. This is good. This is good. Yeah, I can. Oh dear. I've forgotten. No. I need to add a number. Need to add a number. There we go. 4. So I hope for more cats. Yeah, we've got 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. AHS steel, pretty good. Not the lightest, but a pretty solid chassis technology. And we've got one of these two. Yay! Trying to use a text chat as well as doing everything, but I can do it. So I don't know if I entered that. I'll spin it again anyway. And we have got longitudinal. This is surprisingly logical. This could go a lot worse, however. I will have to hope. So we have got 4 options. So we've got 2. Oh, yes. We've got the leaf springs. The leaf springs have shown up already. The brake drums are real. Well, I don't know if they will hurt me. The leaf springs are. I don't know if it'll let me remove the body, but leaf springs, oh dear. The unnecessary evil. Now, what's it going to select for rear? Okay. It makes some kind of sense, at least. So we've got solid axle coil on the rear, and we've got leaves on the front. There's suspension setups that make less sense than this. Granted, I do not hope for drum brakes, especially since this is probably not going to be the lightest of cars. Wait, Sakura, am I blind, and is that why I can't hear the voices? Let us see. Sakura is all-knowing. Sakura wouldn't lie. It shall become so. I don't know. Is that some kind of threat? That sounds like a threat to me. I'm feeling a smaller body. Anyway, as I say. If I can find something that's large enough, this should do. It just about kind of falls into the larger setup. I wouldn't choose anything smaller, to be honest, if I could help it. So we've got this. Let's say that one. I don't think it's really an SUV with 2 doors. It's more of a coupe or an off-roader. So less so much SUV. I don't know, honestly. I feel like going with one with more doors. I could let the wheel decide. But I think the one with more doors is more befitting, and it's not giving me mid-engine or anything, so it makes sense. We do actually have the random hex generator up. So we can clear field. We can generate colours. We have got our first colour. So I somehow had that open. Usually I'm disorganised, but we can add a paint. Let us see. Okay, we've got that green colour, and we'll generate another colour. Green and blue. I feel like these colours could definitely work together, but I have no idea. Can we go with is the roof here somewhere? It is indeed green. So we'll go miscellaneous, is it? I don't know what I'm reading even. I am also now on an Apple keyboard from 2007. I've upgraded. So if I minimize, this is our colours. We have, I think I can get these working together actually. They are pretty primary bright colours, but I can see them having a way of working. So we could go with front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. We have got 3 different options for the place power is sent to. So don't want that one. We want this wheel. Let us spin. Oh, have we got all-wheel drive? Yes, we have. That's good. Got some form of all-wheel drive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is making sense. And we've got spin again. So we have got 1 4x4 setup. If it was ever going to work on a car, it's this. So I see a vision. It's not a sports car vision, but I see a vision. Hamburger. I like that spelling. That is a good spelling. Sakura just... I'm thinking, is it one of those moments where Sakura just refuses to answer for no apparent reason? Sometimes it does that. So, have we got 2? We've got a V90. We're going to just build an American SUV or something from the 80s. That's why they want you to think you're a hamburger. Yes, they want you to believe you're a hamburger. So let's see. Are we going to get a V8? That would certainly be something. We have got a V10. This is ending up surprisingly American. I mean, not a V8, but getting pretty close to being an American engine layout. 5, 6, 7. Spin that. Map that theories, yeah. That is why humans are hamburgers. But that's just a theory. A food theory, I don't know. Billet aluminium, so that's not terrible. We have got 4 technologies here. So we have got that. Let us see. We've got probably the worst header type. Oh dear, not the direct acting overhead cam. And we have got, go enter our other numbers back in. Ah! I'm highlighting the wheel, apparently. We have got 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aluminium standard. Overall, this could have been a lot worse. It is shiny, and shiny means better. Am I the AI? I wonder. Sakura knows everything. Sakura would never lie. So we've got cast iron. Okay. 5. I wonder. Sakura, you need to know conclusively. Everybody believes every word you say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, forged conrods. Conrods can be a weak point, so it's good that we have got some good versions of them there. And we've got 6. So I think, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hyperatutic cast. Hopefully I can pronounce that correctly. But we have got some pretty good technologies. And some pretty bad ones. All in all. Are we getting what? It's chosen number 1. It loves number 1. On this case, I think we can deal with it. I think being a 10 cylinder, at least the, what's it called, is distributed. Now, I do need to make sure I can put the engine size in. It does not fit with front wheel drive very well at all, but we can fit a large engine in here with a V10. I'll go up to 9 litres. 6 or maybe 7. Perhaps both. So, let's see the engine. 4, 5, 6, 7. We will not be having a 1 because that is too small. We have got a small engine. Okay, must obey the wheel. Please give me a supercharger or something. I should not speak, but... yes, if we could get a supercharger or a turbo, it might save this thing. Too powerful. Yes, I hope for a supercharger. So that is our engine size. I mean, it could work. It is a V10, so we'll probably make at least 100 horsepower, should I say. Just thinking, my comments going through the avatars, and yeah, we've got to select a VVT, or do we get any kind of VVL, variable valve lift? I will put words together eventually. Spin again. Okay, as you wish, wheel. We have got no valve timing. Well, I must obey it. We must all obey the wheel. We must all obey the wheel and build the world's most simple engine. I don't know. I would say I feel bad. I'm not going to say anything at this point. Okay. We have got a supercharger. Yes. Good stuff. This is what I want to see. So, what kind of supercharger do we get? We'll get one of the 3. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got 3. I think we've got... no, we've got... it selected 2, I think. Yeah. So 2 would be centrifugal, which is not high torque, but pretty decent, I think, on the high end. At this point, we have got a supercharger. Like, this thing would not make power without a supercharger. It doesn't have the options, let's say, in size to make power that way. So we have got a supercharger. This might actually be okay. 4, we've got advanced control. I'll take this centrifugally supercharged with, like, advanced control on it. Things could be a lot worse. I can also go heavily bore bias, which will favour this engine, because I've got the displacement, so, of a low displacement, but I can just set it up that way. So if we lower that out, like as I say, it would fit even with front wheel drive at this point, even with the bore like maxed out. But since it's given me a smaller engine displacement, I feel I might as well try and use it to get power. Like, nothing about it is genuinely too awful. The size is small, but we have potentially some comeback in that it's supercharged. Okay, so we're going to get 2. I would say I cheated it by giving it a softer spin, but, you know, it did have an option to choose 1 and be quite cruel. It's functioning. I think this engine will be okay. Like, if it was naturally aspirated, I would be concerned. But as a turbo engine, or sorry, a supercharged engine, I think we'll be doing okay. Okay, single point, still pretty decent. I mean, not the greatest. Some bits of this engine are low tech, but I think we'll get by just fine. Then it's going to choose some fuel that just messes it up and can't work properly. 6, okay. So we've got... Have we got 6? Nitromethane? I think that's good for performance. Not sure it's good for fuel economy at all. But I think it gives us good performance. So, we have got 1. Of all the times to get a number 1, I think we can take that. So, 5, 6. Come on, choose us a nice number. It hasn't chosen a 1. Look, I'll take that. It's not chosen me a number 1. And we are getting number 3, which is standard mid. Okay, decent, decent. Now, we have 6 more options. I don't know, it didn't spin that properly. And we have got a 5, so tubular long, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is tubular long. So, we have got the exhaust. Let us see what exhaust you want. You want a single exhaust? I'm not sure if that's going to be an issue. I really just don't know whether it will be an issue or whether it will be fine. So we're going to have to spin again, as the wheel has asked for so kindly. And we're getting a 1. So many number 1s here. 3 and 4. We've got a lot of number 1s, it seems, stacked up. But I think we will be okay. Spin that. And we have got number 2. So we have got a catalytic converter. Probably not going to be the absolute worst thing for the environment, even if it isn't the greatest. Oh dear. I keep grabbing the wheel and I'm not supposed to spin it that way. So we have a muffler, a baffled muffler. Decent. Not the best for airflow, but it's something. Have we got dual baffled or have we gone free? Okay, we've got reverse flow. This is some good muffling. It'll either be quiet, or it won't quieten itself enough and it will still be a loud engine. Let's see how it sounds, if it's actually audible over the music. You know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling the Maxwell wagon. Because we built the Maxwell pickup truck, why don't we build the Maxwell wagon as a successor of somewhat? There's a classic smooth. I'm feeling the classic smooth a bit more on the head design, should I say. 158 horsepower. It's not a lot, but I think it's enough when we've tuned it. We can probably get 250, maybe a little more. Just because of the supercharger and everything, I think we'll get that kind of power. Also, it's a V10, so that's all playing into our hands right now. I mean, maybe this thing will be amazing, because it's got live axle on the front and rear, which kind of compensates a little for the live leaf springs on the front. The fact it's also got live coil on the back there, which is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got dual clutch, that's a good transmission. And we've got another 7 options to choose from. We are getting spin again. Okay, I'll spin it the other way. Like, that's what I'm doing now. Like, I'm dragging and spinning in the opposite direction if it does select spin again. And we've got another number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll take a 6-speed dual clutch. That's a pretty good transmission. I mean, it could have more gears, but beyond 6, like, you're not going to need those gears per se. Like, it's going to be fine with 6 gears. I just want to spin it, and I keep grabbing it in the wrong way and not actually spinning it. So we've got a clutched LSD, which I trust is front and rear because it's got a 4x4 setup. But I think there's just like a locker in the middle because, as I say, 4x4. So we have a clutch differential. Now, we have 4 types of tyres. And I'm just not going to say anything because I know what happens when I say something. Oh. Oh. Maybe that was me not grabbing it enough, but the wheel has decided. At this point, I'm beginning to lose hope. It might be okay. I don't think it's going to be that fast outright. Are we going to get 4? We're going to get 4? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hard long life. I'll take it because number 3 was utility. Hard long life are not performance tyres, but like they're decent. You can get some performance out of them. We've also got 6 options here. Maybe I want to go with an older body because I'm getting 70s vibes from this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 4 drills. I am getting 70s vibes. So I think I will change the body. But for now, this body is serviceable. At least we don't have to fit a massive engine in. So that's probably going to help us. It has to be large as well. So I'm probably going to go with an older American body. Because the American bodies are just inherently a lot larger than the European bodies, typically speaking. This is a Range Rover, I believe. And it's the largest variant. And have we got... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have got carbon ceramics on the front. That restores a little hope. Like, the thing should at least slow okay, even with 2 pistons instead of, like, the higher-end versions. We have got carbon ceramics. That is good. At least luck has had us with the brakes, so the thing should slow even if it does weigh a little more. And we have, spin again. We have got number 4. We've got carbon ceramics, front and rear. Oh, it has been kind. I mean, I think I said, what's the title? We don't fear drum brakes or something? Yeah, drum brakes aren't real, they can't hurt me. Well, apparently drum brakes aren't real, and they can't hurt me because, as things turn out, we are not having to deal with the drum brakes. We are getting the other side of technology, and that's not a bad side. I am still getting 70s vibes, though, even with the carbon ceramics. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got more pistons on the back. I don't think that's going to destroy it, honestly. 2 pistons is good. I might just have to make the front brakes a little larger, but they're carbon ceramics, so they'll cool regardless. Cooling will not be an issue with these brakes. 6, 7... I mean, you can get drum brakes working on the front, but it's harder to get brake performance out of them. Okay, we've got off-road skid tray. There is a vision, as I say here. There is a definite vision that you don't see in every car the wheel randomly generates. So we have got cut that section of the wheel listing off, and let's see. I probably shouldn't have set the cooling flaps until I've got the other aero sorted, but I am doing that now. I mean, I will go back to the aero, but we are getting cooling flaps for now. So, I mean, I don't know about the seats because I don't know what the final body is going to be. Being a larger vehicle, it should work regardless, but I do think, as I say, now is as good a time as any to see what bodies we've got. So this is large. I mean, this is a large American one. I feel like, as I say, though, there is a number of bodies. So that's a 57. That's a 78. I mean, I'm feeling very American vibes. You know what, this? I think it's a Ford body, but let's give it a try. Seems very low. But this is SUV. I'm not feeling that. That looks a little too old for the kind of vibes I'm feeling with this. There is a Bronco body which goes fairly large. You know what? I could try the Bronco body. Like the enlarged and elongated Bronco body. But I don't know. It looks very narrow. So calling it a large vehicle when it's that narrow is hard. We also have that, so I'm going to try this. Like, this isn't the largest body, but as I say, it's probably large enough to get working. We have one SUV body. You should be able to get a third row, though, however this goes. And as I say, with the older body from, like, the 1970s or 80s, it's just, this is what's available. That will suit our needs as a larger vehicle. So, we can go a little wider. I think I'll have to, like, widen out the fenders, or however you do it. You can do that much, I know, so that should be enough. We're on cross-ply, so we're limited anyway in terms of what we can add. We can add a lot of tyre, but I think I'd rather have a little larger wheels than just brute tyre. I think even with hard long life, just tyre isn't enough. And then we can go... Like, I'm doing this quite early on because I'm just trying to get this thing, like, laid out in terms of setup. 285s, I'll take that. I mean, I've made the tyres larger because it is supposed to be an SUV. Those wheels may be a little too large, but I'm gonna have to see how this works out. I can probably make the wheels a little wider, and that's a potential option. So we will have to see. We do have a third row. We could go with 3 in the front, but generally I always choose 2. So I'm going to go with, the seat number is going to be 2, and I think we'll go with, 4 seats as a minimum, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe. So yeah, 6, 7, 8. So this will give us a chance. Come on. Have we got 4? Yeah, we've got the minimum seats. Not a terrible option, though, if you're going for outright luxury. So we can try and form this into some kind of, like, retro luxury SUV. Honestly, with front leaf springs, it's always bound to have limitations. Now, we have got 1, 2, 3. And then we can remove the number 8. So we have got this job done. And we have got... Is that a race? No, we've got spin again. It has chosen race before. So I think we've got 6. We've got a handmade interior. It's going for luxury. I can tell that much now. It's partial carbon fibre, so the thing should at least in body weight be a bit lighter. I'll use minimum as 8 track as it's been. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we've got 6 different, let's say, era versions for this. We have got number 3. Okay, is that like CD, I think? Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. It's got CD. That is... I don't know. We could say it's just updated. I don't know, really. Or a 70s vehicle that has somehow made it into the 90s. Could make sense of it in any number of ways. Just how it's working out. So we have got 4 options. We have got a premium CD player. The wheel knows all, so we must obey the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I need to actually grab the wheel and spin it. So we have got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Electric. Not electric variable, but you know what? It's got power steering. I shouldn't complain too much about the whole ordeal. And then we have 5 options here. If the wheel is not totally mean to me. Let us see. Okay. That's all I can really ask for. It's not giving me a number 1. So we have anti-lock brakes. The thing is going to have a level of handling. Despite everything. So we will see what safety we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 settings here for the era of the safety that we are allowed. We have got number 3. Okay, so that's 70s. I think we start at 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. So it seems very much like it's... The vibes I'm getting are a 70s car that has somehow survived and still been made in the 90s. So... I don't know about the cross-ply tyres, though. Like, they're still not era relevant, but I have to choose what the wheel allows me to choose. And that gave us spin again, so we go around again. Is it going to choose spin again? Yes. We're going to spin again. I don't know what happened there. It kind of bounced when I tried to spin it. But anyway, we have a number 1, basic 90s safety. This actually kind of makes sense to something from the 70s. As I say, looking at a car, I think that made it up until maybe 1991, but was originally from the 70s. And I think we can kind of create a law from that regard. 4, 5, 6 options for these springs. Well, it's got springs on the back, the front are leaves, as per the wheel's demand, and then live coil. So we have got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Active sport. Maybe that will stop it rolling as much round corners, I don't know. It is also partial carbon fibre because the wheel knows all, and I cannot say that's like irrelevant for the era or anything. Gas monotube dampers, that's okay. And we have got 17 kilos. So it's not actually that heavy for such a large vehicle. I can take this, you know. It's not making that much power because it's a 2-litre engine, but hopefully with a supercharger I can drive a bit more power through its wheels. We do need to also decide the aero, one last thing to do, so we can go with all, I think, no, we'll go with none, rear, or all. And then I could just shuffle it because why not? So we'll go do that. We are getting no downforce. Honestly, that makes sense for what this car is. So we can remove the wheel now. And this is our vehicle. It does have, I think, it has magnesium or something. Forged wheels, okay. But I am getting an idea of what I could install on this. Because if we're going with a American type of vibe. Also, I've not used the other colour anywhere. Maybe I could go two-tone with it, actually. Because I believe this body will play itself quite well to be a two-tone. Not with that window trim. I'm not a fan of that, but we can go two-tone and we can kind of have that work. Front bumper, there we go. And then we can fix the windows so they don't look like so badly off, because these are the randomly generated colours that we have to use. I mean, there is somewhere. Window trim, that's one of it. So, global. Defaults, chrome should be here. Yep. Pillar trim, that can also be chrome. I'm quite liking this. I mean, the colours look very bright. If I made the blue look a bit more plasticky with the settings, I could maybe get it working. I feel like it has to be green because we're going for like that greenery kind of aesthetic, but I changed the under chassis as well. I don't think I want that to be bright blue. If anything, I want it to be green because most of the body's going to be green. That's just going to be plastic trim or whatever. That's the blue. So the carpet is also blue, apparently. We could make that chrome, but I think we're just better off making it plastic or something because I'm not going to do a full interior, so just something that won't stand out too much. And I think that works okay. So we have got a design to do. I really just want to get it working. So the front brake force is low. Okay, the brakes, which it has given me very good brakes. We can ramp them up 375 because I put big wheels on it, which I do still need to adjust for visuals because I didn't do that. We've got 285 width tyres, even though they are hard long life cross ply. I think we'll do okay with this. Could have still been even crueler than it was. I think they will be able to put some power down. How much, I don't know. I might have to make the wheels smaller. We have good brakes, so if I have to make the wheels smaller, I should be able to get away with that. Ooh, we can kind of get white walls on here. I'm not sure they work too well with the cross plies and how they are, but we can go with some white walls, which I think would look quite good. Again, this is not the same as perhaps other vehicles. This is one of the few cars I could get the torque thrusts actually working on, and even in chrome, I guess, I could get them working. So, yes, on car, so we can just use the chrome from here. There is like a real lip or something. That's where you do the white wall. Miscellaneous 2. So, can I find something? Luxury, whatever that is. No, that's not working. So, I think we'll make a new colour. I don't know if it could be plastic, maybe. Because plastic's gonna kind of look okay. It's like plastic isn't the obvious choice for a wheel, but I think it'll blend in just well enough. Like, I don't know how quick this is gonna be. I will briefly check how the overall gearing sees. Like, we've got a 6-speed dual clutch, so the wheel has been fairly kind here. It reckons 10.7 0 to 60. Granted, I will be making a lot more power from this, 9 miles per gallon as well, because of the nitromethane it has allowed me to use. I think it's nitromethane, if I just check. We have got a centrifugal supercharger, not great for low end, but it should mean this thing makes some power on the high end. It is nitromethane. I mean, I could try and go tune for power just to get a baseline tune on there, and then I will do it myself, but it's sometimes better than doing nothing. Like, at least it's going to prioritize power in this tune, and it's done an even worse job than was already done on it. So that's something. I think we can probably, like, the way this looks, it's got pretty good torque, but it also looks like it can rev out quite aggressively, so I should try and use this engine's small displacement to my advantage. So 129. I should be able to make at least 200. If I can't even make that, it was making 150 before I actually totally messed up this car. As I say, torque on the crankshaft is low because it's cast iron. Torque on the piston is even lower. I have done what I can. It's just the parts list it's dealt me isn't great. But I have made the bore massively higher than the stroke, just because I do want that torque. Like, if I lower the bore and raise the stroke, the torque will go down. It's already pretty bad, honestly. There is counterweights. I wonder if I could raise that up and get any kind of torque. Nope. I mean, it's something it never seems to do anything good for the car, but I was going to try it anyway. We can maybe adjust the supercharger. I wonder if we make the compressor larger. It's basically a supercharger with a belt because it's centrifugal. I'd rather have this than have a naturally aspirated engine though. Okay, so we can smaller the compressor and still get a decent old amount of power. It's making this very low. I could probably also try and change things like the exhaust, because now I know that the supercharger, if configured correctly, can make this kind of power. There we go, 251. So just changing that, like, this isn't a perfect ideal build, but we are making some power. Now, if I could get 300, I would be more than happy with 300. Not the most in the world, but it would get some kind of a move on with 300 horsepower. It's granted it's nowhere near finished, but we're getting somewhere. Okay, I think that was one of the things the tune messed up. So what have we got? The manifold. The valves are only on 47%, but I feel having these numbers somewhat lined up will probably make decent power and response and all the rest of it, and then I can change it later. So we'll lower that a little. The intercooler is actually lined up surprisingly well with everything else. I think if I lower the valves, that number will go up, and maybe that's what I want. I've just ramped them up to the maximum at the moment. The exhaust, it wants to be large, which I can't be surprised by. It's got one exhaust, so that is something. 60%. We make 287 horsepower here. That's good. That is good stuff. As I say, these numbers are not lined up perfectly in terms of airflow, but we are making some power. Sometimes I notice in automation, though, even a tiny engine, this has got 10 cylinders. So even being tiny with an overhead cam header, we should be able to make some decent power at the absolute maximum end of things. So 290, yeah. As I suspected, lowering that is good. Granted, I do want it to make the power on the high end, so if I can lower the compression or something, get power this way, it'll probably be good to keep this, to keep the high RPM cam profile and springs and lifters. That's just good for it in general. The torque, I guess thanks to it being a centrifugal supercharger, that's not actually a worry. I thought it might be. But maybe I could raise the stroke up if the torque, like, doesn't get, if we don't get any closer to the kind of peak, or at least much closer, because it's making peak torque at 649. So we have a fair bit here that we can use. Okay, cam profile still benefits from being a little lower, which makes sense, because I think, from what I can tell, like, it does only want to rev so high. So we've got 310. Like, as I say, this is just the thing that sometimes goes on, where you can keep making a lot of power from a tiny engine. If you have a supercharger or something to just brute force that power through the engine. Airflow, I would say, is decent. The one thing that's going to compromise it is the overhead cam intake. We do have single point fuel injection. Not the greatest, but easily enough to push some power through it. I mean, as I say, 350 horsepower for a random wheel build. If we can make that, we're doing quite well. Like, not the highest power figure, but I would say just over 350 is probably just a bit above average for what these kinds of engines can make. Some do make around about that horsepower. I mean, if we're to do this, get some decent speed out of it and beat a few things on the leaderboard, which I do think this thing can do with the configuration it's been handed, then we're kind of going to need to just work this power out. We can lower the RPM limit because it's far too high at the moment. I can tell that much. Supercharger is also going to be holding a little bit of our power. Holding our power hostage from us with a poor config. So the boost limit has gone down. I may want that to be higher. I may want it to be lower. I don't know. It doesn't look like raising it up really does anything good. So 446, we should be able to raise up the intercooler. It is making power, so I think we could raise the stroke a little. Just to go in with the engine's limitations. I think that would make better power, but I was concerned about like peak torque, peak RPM, all that. I don't think I had to worry. So let's go back. We can go... I mean, I'll see if this... Maybe lowering that could do it. Okay, I'm seeing the the maximum torque going down. As long as it makes over 9,000 RPM, I don't think I have to have the slightest concern about peak RPM. That stuff is just not a worry at all. Like, as I say, I doubt this is going to rev much higher than 9,000, even if I set it completely free. We've got a direct acting overhead cam header, not exactly the most RPM biased header. The torque has gone up a lot, but we're still over 600 for torques. So that's not actually being affected much at all, at least not negatively, by me raising the stroke. Okay, the crank. As it goes, the crankshaft has actually lost a lot of torque, but the pistons have not. So this actually kind of just levels them out for max torque, which I wasn't expecting. Granted, the crankshaft loses a lot of torque when I lower the, loses a lot when I lower the bore. So if I can get about 550 torque, maybe? I don't know. Maybe we just need to lower the stroke a little to try and get some of our torque back. Because that crank is not liking it and it only makes more torque when I raise the stroke a little. Okay, 2 litres exactly, which is our limitation by the wheel. We are not allowed to exceed 2 litres. So, in those terms, I think we should be okay, but we're going to need to adjust some stuff to try and get this thing leveled up. I mean, I don't want to mess with the torque too much, but I will lower the torque limit if it helps that much. It's just the overall engine proportions. You do not want to be as extremely bore biased as I had them. That just doesn't really do the engine any favours. So, the compression is pretty high. Again, the nitromethane has weird ways of working. But I have been dealt the hand of nitromethane and I have to try and make it work. So, almost 310. The centrifugal supercharger is not great on the lower end. I don't think that's going to be the serious issue that it could perhaps be. Granted, raising up the bore, or no, raising up the cam profile is maybe not the best decision. How are we doing for airflow? Valves are 81%, which I don't think is too bad. Not saying it's the best, but if this is making power, and solid power, then I can take that. So, lower this. It just doesn't seem to like having super high cams and profiles, or spring and lifters. Go lower that compression. I think we are probably approaching like 330, which for a 2-litre engine is actually incredibly good, despite everything acting against this. If it can make that much power, I mean, the intercooler is very low for number. I mean, does that want to go higher? No. It's just making the intercooler higher is an easy way of pulling more power out of this engine. It's going to make it heavier, but at this point, the engine is so small, it weighs under 200 kilos anyway. A little extra weight on there isn't going to weigh down a heavy SUV. So, I think that, like, there is strategy. There is method to the madness, it feels. Even though there isn't, it's just a random wheel and it has no no sense of self or free thoughts, but we don't talk about that. The wheel here obviously has its own personality. So we have got, yeah, we've got that. We can enlarge it. There's a boost limit as well, which we could probably try and make higher, but I don't think having higher boost on this actually really helps. I think there's other means of the adjustments that make this work better. Boost limit, that can get lower. The headers are like 100%. Maybe the headers are allowing too much airflow, I don't know. Where is the headers? That's the, I think that's the manifold. Could try and raise the manifold up to match the valves a little better. I think the exhaust is pretty good. I don't think I have to mess with the exhaust too much for airflow. So 85%. There is also the header size. Yes, that is letting a lot of air through. I mean, that exhaust is gargantuan. So yeah, that's better. 78% is a little better, but we have to go with a massive single exhaust. The wheel said we're only allowed a single exhaust, so that's what we must obey. Could probably make that a little smaller, I don't know, because I feel like that exhaust is maybe a little too large. And it's not necessarily working. So we've got 324. As I say, if we can make 330 horse, I'm pretty happy with that. The power just drops off though, which I find curious. Maybe it's because there's no valve timing or anything to like keep the power curve going, but 227.4. I mean, it just drops off like that. How are somebody supposed to manage this? I don't like the fact the power just drops off. The hold on it isn't so bad. We can keep it above 300 for a while, so it should still put some power down. The Maxwell mobile I built last time, that had the power of Maxwell. That had about 320, 330. So we're looking similar to that. And I mean, this vehicle is heavier, but it has 2 more driven wheels. So I feel like we're looking at real competition with that. They also both had front leaf springs, although it was independent on the back of a Maxwell mobile. I don't think that's really going to provide any advantages, honestly. I think the front leaf springs already hinder things so badly that independent suspension on the back is not going to make that kind of car any better. 7.8, okay. I can try making these wheels larger. It does have more high end than the Maxwell mobile. I guess the body might just be more aerodynamic. I really don't know. I think the Maxwell mobile does like 15 miles per gallon if I remember correctly. Or 10 at least. So this is not efficient. I mean, you can tell these leaf springs are high. But I could lower them a little, which I think is better for track performance. I can't do it a lot, though. At least on an SUV, it does look less off, having the massively raised ride height. And we've got the decent sporty suspension. It's also put weight on. It's now 1853. For its weight, I think it moves quite well, but we're still looking at 7.7 seconds. It's not the quickest. I mean, it holds on quite well for such a big brick of a car, but it's just not the quickest in a straight line. That's not its strength, and I'm not sure cornering will be either. So if I go like 17s for wheel size, we can make these 315s on these cross-ply tyres, which I do think that might be more beneficial. They're carbon ceramic brakes, so they don't have to be insanely huge. I'm not so sure I like this body though, honestly. But what else is there? I just feel like this car, this body doesn't look particularly good, and we're not struggling for engine size at all. So maybe if there's something a little nicer looking, but still kind of a large chassis. There's this one, and then there's that one perhaps. I mean, we're looking at something kind of oldie-worldy in terms of overall size. I could try this, see? If this sits a little lower on the chassis with solid axles. So this is an 85 SUV. I mean, also there's the wheel size. This looks like it's going to fit much larger wheels. And the paint job is just chaotic on this since I changed it. I mean, it says random, but I want this thing to look pretty decent with random colours if I can. We have the wheels somewhere. If I can find them. Car trim, it's probably somewhere here. There we go. So we have 285, 305, 335. They are right. But we do need to also make these larger, I think. We can put some massive tyres on. This is larger, though. I fear it's going to be much heavier. Okay, 1924 kilos. It's heavier, but this is definitely a larger body. And it's going to have stability because of that. So maybe the extra stability is worth it. And also we can go with 20-inch wheels, still have massive tyres. I feel like that's going to be good for stability. So if we can... There's got to be a way of like raising these out to put wider front tyres on, surely. Don't tell me I'm going to have to change the body for something so trivial. No, I don't know. Like, can do that. This is just not making sense to me. Like, where is the actual thing? You can do that, but... I mean, okay, I'm stuck to 305s on the front. If the body is being like this... There we go. I thought there would be an adjuster here. I just couldn't find it. I did think there should be one. 395s. Those are massive. So even on the hard tyres, we should be getting grip. Even on the cross-ply tyres, we should be getting grip. I think it's probably better, though, if I just go obscenely large for, like, 22 inches. And I can still fit massive tyres. Okay. Not sure how this is going to be with grip. And I don't know if those cross-ply... I don't know if those white walls even work. Probably not. I'll probably get rid of the white walls. This is going to be a muscle truck. Can we... yeah, so we can raise that out. Can probably narrow in that a little on the front just to match the rear. I feel this, though. I feel this body should work. Wheelbase is 3.38, so it is large. And it did... The wheel did ask for a large body. So I can honour that. If we go somewhere. Yeah, here they are. Just one of these without white walls. There's radial TA, but that text doesn't line up. So I don't really like that. I could also go with some just more modern looking wheels, but I kind of like the idea of having the torque thrusts, honestly. Because muscle truck or muscle SUV. How do they look? No, they like lift away. They don't actually comply with a body. They look a little small. They're 22 inches. As I say, if I can make more power, this thing is going to go. This thing is going to be entirely decent to use. There's the engine. I bet the engine looks tiny in here. And it indeed is. Because that's what happens when you put a 2-litre engine in a massive car. But we're on live axle front and rear. Just it's chosen coil on the back and leaf on the front, which is the opposite config to what you would perhaps expect. But it's at least consistent enough. So I could go sport. I mean, that's going to lower it, but I don't think I can get this that low anyway, honestly. I think if I go with... I'll go with sportiness just to try and get this thing to actually take a corner. But it may want to roll over. So 12.7. And it's just stuck here. Like, that's not a great high handling score. I mean, I feel like I need the Maxwells to make this car work better. It also has a supercharger, so it might make cat noises, like the last vehicle. I mean, it seems to be going through some kind of, like, carbon fibre SUV type phase now. Although this isn't full carbon, it still has a carbon fibre body. It's weird, because like, the wheel seems to go through phases. It had a steel phase where it was making every car body out of steel. And it's randomised. That's what makes things weird. So how is it consistently like doing these things over and over again when it's supposed to be totally random? I mean, the smaller engine is a bit odd, but like, as I say, we've got a supercharger, so I can keep trying to push power up, and at this point, with this heavyweight body at 2 tons, I'm going to have to try that. I mean, I could put a lighter body on, but I think this is going to allow a lot of tyre grip, a lot of brakes. There is just advantages to having a massive body here, and I feel like I should lean into them. But we're also going to need to try and push this 2-litre engine as far as it could ever go. So, I mean, I don't know about the boost limit ever getting power. We could try making this supercharger larger. It is a supercharger, so as long as the engine doesn't grenade itself, we're not going to get like massive turbo lag or something. 328, 335. It seems just generally making the I don't know what I'm doing, but making the supercharger gear ratio and the compressor size larger is making power. I think just a massive compressor may help. I don't know. Now it's losing power. Come on, gear ratio. No, do you want a lower gear ratio then? Maybe that will save it, I don't know. It is making more power with a lower gear ratio, so that's something. It's also revving out higher. So 342.5, 343, 343.8, 344, 344.1. Okay, the gear ratio is somewhat fixing the power curve now. Like, it's not just dropping off. And that's what I want to see. Because I do like having this engine, like, rev out and make good, solid power. I don't want it to make too much torque, though. That, I guess, is ultimately a concern as well, which I have. Where is all this power coming from? It's just out of nowhere. We are suddenly getting loads of power. I guess because I'm learning how to tune the thing. I just realised the crankshaft is limiting the torque and the power. But because it's a smaller engine, I can get away with some things that I just couldn't with a large V8 or something. When it's a tiny engine like this. I do imagine it's going to sound interesting. That's if you can actually hear it, because it's got quite a lot of muffling on. So, 53.6. I mean, it is revving. I'll say that much. Like, the thing is revving out. 0.7, 0.8. The thing is revving out quite nicely. Granted, I feel like I'm losing low end. So it's all going to be about keeping this car in the high end of the power band, because if I don't do that, it's probably not going to make incredible power. We are making over 350 though, so we're making solid power for a randomised vehicle, even if it is coming from a 2-litre engine. The power existing, so let's see, if that's a massive supercharger. Well, compared to the engine, it's probably not actually that big. I mean, I do feel like a Roots-style supercharger, or whatever the other one was, a screw supercharger, would be better. But we must obey the wheel. And we must say, if it wants a high RPM, like Ferrari, Lamborghini type supercharger, where it just makes everything at the top of a rev range, then we have to obey that. So, 358. Is there a way to push more power? Nope. 358.5. Supercharger gear ratio. I mean, I don't know if this is going to work. The power curve looks a little iffy. I could always try changing the overall rev limit. No, not rev limit. I could try changing the compression. Yeah, it just does not like this too much. Like, it's so close to just blowing up the engine. I mean, before I was playing with one of these engines and it was like, the engine wants to blow up because you're making too much horsepower for a tiny engine. But we're not saying blow up outright, but it was saying it just wasn't enjoying it. But we want power, and we are stuck at an engine of the size that the wheel gave us. So that is why I am trying to make the best of it. 369. That's a good power figure, but I want more. I mean, we're approaching 400. Like, as I say, you can get surprising amounts of power from tiny engines in this game, but you're kind of pushing the engine to a point it's not really comfortable with it. Could always try changing this cam profile up, because it wasn't full aggressive before. I mean, if it doesn't make extra power, then there's no point in raising it, but still. Springs and lifters, are you going to go up? Yes. Springs and lifters are holding power. Springs and lifters, you have been holding power hostage from me. This is not good. I want all the power. Give me all the power. This engine is not going to like it, though. It's going to make this power, but it's being forced to make the power against its will. At any rate. 379.4. We're almost at 380. It is... The upside is we are making some torque. It looks like the torque is following the power, so I don't think we're going to be hitting the torque limits of the engine, as low as they may be. I don't think that's going to be a particular issue. I mean, I could try changing the radiator as well. Like, that's potentially a way of pulling extra power out of it. Not radiator, I mean the intercooler. So, intercooler... No, I was just sometimes thinking that because... Oh, it is making more power. Like, it's adding a bit of weight, but honestly, this body can take a bit of weight. Anything really to get decent power from it. Maybe it's not the best for airflow or anything, but at this rate... Yeah, so 1810, it's not going to make that power, it's not going to make near that horsepower, but just anything that allows me to force this car a little, push this car a little harder and make all that extra power. I mean, there's other things than this supercharger gear ratio and whatever that I can use to make the power. I mean, it's a very curious engine, I'll say that. Like, I wouldn't have built this normally. But it's building a rather unique vehicle, so I can try increasing the boost limit if that... Yeah, that does give me extra power. It wasn't doing it before, but... Yeah, it just doesn't like too much boost. Too much boost just doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it increases torque, but I don't feel we'll need it even on a heavy car. I do feel, hard as it may be to accept, I think the torque is going to be enough. I just have to try and, as I say, use the transmission to keep this in the higher RPMs, because that's where all the power and the torque is going to be made. Like, if I can make 400 horse, I think that'll be easily enough. It's going to be really leaning on the power, but if it can make 400 ponies, then that is definitely not a bad thing about it. I mean, I would say it's inconceivable to make it that powerful, but these things have happened before. I've just kept throwing the numbers up, and it's taken it. I mean, there's other things as well, like the exhaust, the headers, all that. So it's like, I'm just adjusting the basics that, you know, power obviously comes from. But there is other variables. So let's see, there's timing as well, I guess, if we could go a bit more aggressive there. The valves are 76, the manifold, I think they're actually pretty decent numbers, honestly, as they've worked out. The exhaust is giving me a really high number. Maybe I do just have to go with an obnoxiously massive exhaust to make the true power that this thing is capable of. It's certainly looking that way. The airflow is improving as I make the exhaust even larger. I don't think I want to go bigger than 127 though. That is already just absurdly large. And we're not gaining much power past that point anyway. Okay, 390. We're getting somewhere. Header size, that can go up. I feel like I'm missing something though, because the power curve isn't entirely predictable. I could raise the stroke a little, but currently I just want this thing to work in a decent manner. So we lower that. We're on a good tubular exhaust header. That's one thing I can say. We've got the manifold as well. 77 maybe? No. You don't want to give me 77? Oh well. At any rate, almost 400 ponies from a 2-litre engine. I mean, that's what, 200 horsepower per litre? I will take that as a win. Like, a supercharger is saving this engine, though. Centrifugal as it may be, it's the very thing that's giving this actual power. As is, I guess, the ability to rev highly because it's a V10? Yeah, V10. It's kind of American, and then it just gave it a tiny engine, and now I'm not sure it's very American at all. So if I can just briefly mute the music, and we can see how this sounds. There we go. So this thing has to tie into Maxwell because I think it can make cat noises. So I'm going to have to tie that in. Granted, the torque, not torque, the supercharger and the whole engine isn't liking it. As I keep it, if I keep this in the high RPMs, the power curve should be pretty solid. It just doesn't like the lower RPMs. So I'm going to have to try and cater for that, I guess. Have we got... Now, if we lower the gear ratio... Okay, the lower gear ratio there has seemed to raise the peak RPM, and I don't hate that at all. Like, is it complaining about this? The engine has unutilized fuel octane. It's complaining about that much. 392. Okay, it seems like maybe if I can just lower the supercharger gear ratio, if I can get away with this, I can probably keep most of the power. And it will actually go for a higher RPM to make such power. Even if this loses me a little power, I mean, I think we have a potential option. Does the compressor want to get smaller, I wonder? No. So I can lose a bit of power in the supercharger gear ratio, I feel, if it makes the power delivery better and just makes it generally higher revving. Because this thing can take the revs. If it will rev, this thing will take it just in terms of engine mechanicals. It has the ability to put down a lot of revs to the road. I mean, the supercharger doesn't necessarily like putting down this much, though. Yeah, we're losing a lot of stability here. The valves have gone up. Maybe that's a sign that if we raise the cam profile, the airflow will be brought back and actually work. Because the higher we can run these numbers, I feel, the higher it should be happy to rev kind of thing. 0.8. So it is seeming to like this, actually. Springs and lifters can probably raise up again. 390.8, 391.8. There is also the compression. Like, this thing just doesn't seem to... It doesn't seem to dislike revving, but... As I say... The supercharger gear ratio... There's also supercharger tune. That doesn't want to be so high. Yeah, 40, which I think is the default, honestly. So, I feel like we don't want to run these numbers too high, because that just drops off the power out of nowhere. So we've got that. 8,500. So, I don't think this engine is, like, grenading itself quite yet. If I adjust the compression and stuff, I can probably just about get away with this power and stuff. 91.2. And then there's the supercharged tune, all that good stuff. Is it complaining about compression? The engine has unutilized fuel octane. Power density, that's what it was complaining about before. We were approaching 200 horsepower per litre. I do want that 200 horsepower per litre. That's a solid number to aim for. So if we can do that in our, like, off-roader, and also make 400 horsepower, which I feel for this kind of vehicle should be enough to get it moving. It's not actually the heaviest vehicle in the world, so it's not insane power, but it should work out. It is over 200 kilos, so we've made this engine heavier, that's for sure, but I don't think it's going to matter in this body, honestly. Fuel map, we can try and make some extra power this way, maybe even lower the fuel map. Yeah, lowering that is better. I didn't set the fuel map. I should have known to do this, but I didn't. I was being a dum-dum. This may even improve fuel economy. It's got like 6.7 miles per gallon, the famous number of miles per gallon. It's actually going up, yeah. We are no longer making 6.7 miles per gallon. We might make 6.9 miles per gallon, which is another number to aim for. If I can get 6.9 miles per gallon, I'll have to be happy with that fuel economy. Yes, 6.9. The fuel map does not like being that high on this. Not sure the exact reasoning, but this entire engine is just getting better by lowering it. No idea why it raised it so much and just a general auto-tune thingy. But we now have that set up. Yeah, I think we're going to make 400. A few settings I missed originally, and I think we're going to make 400 out of this. I don't think I want the timing raised too much because automation complains about that and says my engine doesn't like it. But if it makes power, how high can I push it before there's like no noticeable difference? I think 75 is the limit, and then automation complains after that. So, timing. We are making 400. Do I want more fuel map or less? We want less, I think. Yes. This is a way to make some power. Somehow I feel like the wheel was trying to be mean with a 2 litre. It did throw me a bone with a supercharger though, and I intend to use that. Even if it is a centrifugal, so not technically the best supercharger for just brute power, I am going to try and use that centrifugal supercharger. The power curve is okay, but you can tell it favours the high end. Not great for this kind of vehicle, but maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work in a strange way. The engine's power density is high. I get that the engine's power density is high. I made it this way. The power is now just going up. So, cam profile, do you want to be higher? Do you want to be more aggressive? Maybe. Not too much. So, 409.2. We can lower the compression. Okay, we can't lower the compression. It complains about that. I mean, I'll take this. Like, even if I had to stop here, I will just take it as a win because 400 horse from this engine. So can we raise that up? Not particularly. Does lowering the compressor size help? No. Not much. I feel like we will be able to get this thing to rev out a little higher. So, the RPM limit. I'll take this. So, the power does drop off quite suddenly. I think that's just to do with the overall rate of the supercharger, honestly. Supercharger gear ratio. Nah, I think we'll leave that on 14. Like, I'm trying to push this engine as quick as I realistically can. 408. And that revs out even higher now. No, it doesn't. 406.4. Should be able to rev it higher now. 8700. I mean, revs are just not an issue at all, though. Oh, okay. That's a smooth enough drop that the performance index doesn't mind that drop off. I think if the car tends to oversteer, that's actually pretty impressive for a massive heavy 4x4 with the engine in the front. Oversteer is actually quite impressive, to be honest. So, I mean, hey, at least we're not going to have understeer. We've got that. So, fuel map. Do you want to go down or up? Okay. 406.8. This is getting better. It just doesn't like the fuel map being particularly high, which I find interesting, honestly. I didn't imagine that the fuel map would just want to sit so low. We are making 7 miles per gallon. A whole 7. Like, if that's not impressive, I don't know what is. But honestly, it's the power per horsepower. Power per cc. Power per litre, that's what they call it. That's impressive. So, airflow. How is the airflow? The valves are on a pretty decent number. The manifold, we can probably lower it, and if this makes more power, all the better. Just to kind of align everything, other than the intercooler, we want a massive intercooler, because there's no advantage to really making it smaller. So, 80, 79. The headers perhaps could change. I mean, the exhaust wants to go larger, but there's not that much practical advantage, but it makes more power. And, I mean, we could do that. I feel like that'll work, honestly. I don't like having the exhaust being this massive, but it won't let me put a dual exhaust on it, so I have to try and work with what I got. This is okay, then. So, it's only taken an hour 15 to get this far. Can try and rev it up again, see how the finalised thing sounds. I mean, as I say, the thing revs okay, but you do not want to keep it in the low RPMs, especially in a car that weighs, what, 2.1 tons. Thank you for giving me power steering wheel and ABS, because I think you're going to need those stuff. So 179. I may just be better off, like, dropping that top speed as low as I possibly can without losing serious amounts of top speed. So I think 175 is a decent top speed for what this is. It's not going to get aero. It has actually got an off-road undertray, not overtray, which is on brand for this. I mean, ultimately, I do feel we need to, as I say, try and keep this in the higher RPMs as best as possible. Like, that's where the performance is. We can get an okay amount of acceleration, granted, it's not the best. Okay, 7.6. That's kind of working out. 7.4. I feel like we just have to let the curve actually kind of take it with the power. That way it's going to grip, and we also get the high RPMs to shift into later on. I mean, 7.1, that's good stuff. As I say, especially given how small this engine is for the weight of the vehicle. 7 seconds. Okay, we are finding the acceleration. It's not so much about using the torque here as it is 6.7 seconds 0 to 60. I don't think it's so much about using the torque on the lower end. I think we need that on the higher end, and we just need to let the, what do you call it? We need to let the RPM carry it to about 60 or so. Well, second gear there, and we hit 60. And I think this is good. Like, this is generally good. We're getting quick 0 to 60, and we're getting good higher end too. I don't want to worry too much about the lower end though of the rev range. I just want to get this done enough that, you know, it accelerates quickly, and it should also reduce oversteer. If in general, if I'm not throwing all the power to the ground at the lower end before it can build the grip. Sorry, should I say? Like, this thing is going, though. It's just not going the quickest. But I think if we can carry some speed around the corners, this is not going to be an absolute disaster of a car. Like, it's going to have some potential. It's just, I fear it's going to want to roll over. I may have to be using the leaf springs for that kind of anti-roll, just due to them being stiffer. So it goes up to, yeah, it goes up to 60 miles per hour in the second gear. We're keeping it in the higher revs, I think, pretty good. At least avoiding the very low revs, especially on the high end. And it's going to go on to a top speed of 175, which is, for a big, heavy vehicle, pretty decent. There we go. 2-litre engine in this. But I've made it work with fuel injection and a supercharger, which I have had gifted to me by the wheel. So what does it think about the brakes? The front brake force is low, apparently, even though they're absolutely gargantuan brakes. I guess it's heavy. Is it oversteering? Yes, tends to oversteer. We've got 51.9. The brakes are not good, but I don't know exactly what the cause of that is. I can try the suspension. I do think I want this fairly stiff, but they are leaf springs. So, you know, there's going to be a limit to how stiff you actually want to go with the leaf springs. Because leaf springs are just inherently pretty stiff, even if you don't make them massively stiff. On a track, you do want them to be very stiff because of just resisting the roll, really, which this car is going to have. It's very tall, so 517 ride height. It's very tall, this, so I think to properly make it work, I'm going to have to do something like this. Have I got 4 seats? The wheel did select 4 seats. No, I've got 5. I did it on another body, so changing that over, it did not save the seats. So we have... I think we want the rear to be a bit stiffer as well. Apparently not. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but I can imagine that not wanting to be as stiff because, you know, you want to resist roll on the front, not the rear as much per se. I cannot add camber because they're both live axles of some kind. The rear dampers are hard. I will have to sort the dampers out, honestly. There's not really another way of looking at that. Yeah, the rear dampers are hard. 15.6. The rear dampers are definitely hard, as it seems. Has that fixed it? Nope, the rear dampers are extremely hard. Okay, I don't think that's too bad. Like, if I can get this working... Yeah, the rear dampers are still hard even at 4.2. Yeah, it does not like rear dampers. I made comfort better. I'm not sure that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to make this thing as sporty as I can for a car that isn't inherently sporty. It's not complaining about the damper stiffness now, so I think I've kind of fixed that. Just about. I mean, I can also try and adjust the anti-roll bars. I can make them stiffer, like maybe that will level out the live coil on the back and the live leaf on the front. I do think as far as this suspension goes, it's dealt me much worse hands. Because even though leaf springs are inferior and it's giving me inferior front suspension, it's giving me live axles on both. So the setup, as bad as it might be, is at least balanced. It's at least like heavy duty suspension on both the front and the back. So I feel if these are set up correctly to, like, you know, even each other out with the setup, things should work out. So we've got 15.4. Yeah, it's like in the anti-roll. The front dampers are hard. Now, do I want them to be softer? I guess. I don't want to just drop too much handling out of it. But at the same time, I don't know. So the front dampers are surprisingly hard for what it is. It's not complaining about it anymore, though. They are different suspensions, so I have to try and factor that in. So we have got 14.8. I mean, I think the rear does have to be stiffer inherently because it's springs, not leaves. But in general, I'm not sure it has to be that much stiffer. I will try sway bars as well. Okay, we want some sway bars. Sportiness is going up, though, with all these tweaks I'm doing. So, it should have a level of handling. Drivability is also pretty decent for a large truck-like vehicle. I do want to tie the Maxwell in, though. I'm thinking I don't usually do interiors, but if I fill the back with Maxwell's, especially since it's giving me 4 seats, I could fill the back with Maxwell's and call it the Maxwell wagon. Because there's a lot of space to fit a cat bed in there. This is the kind of stuff I think of. Anyway, yeah, I can definitely do that much. The seats should be easy enough, and I can probably put a pre-made dashboard and stuff in just to get the interior finished, because I think the interior is going to add to this. Even if it's not the most advanced thing in the world, I can try something. So is it oversteering? The car does tend to oversteer. I do have rear toe, which I should be able to use. Rear and front toe I should be able to use to like fix the oversteer. There we go, 15.3. 0.4. How wide are these tyres again? They are gargantuan, so I don't think even being cross-ply, I think these are going to be fine. I could try and make these wheels larger. I mean, at this point, though, we're fitting the largest brakes possible. Could go 23, maybe. Nah, at that point, I change anything, you lose width on the brakes, and not brakes, you lose width on the tyres. And I want the maximum width available, honestly. I don't want to lose width. So, that is a thing. Could probably make the rear track a little wider and still have that kind of work. I could raise that up now. I don't think it really adds anything though. Like maybe if I was using super low suspension. There we go. I mean, I could, Simon. And then this, I know it looks unconventional. It decided upon a large body anyway. So I think being on a larger body, we can try and use that to keep this thing kind of upright around corners. I mean, the suspension isn't great, so gotta use whatever little cheats I can to kind of cheese this to keep on its wheels. The car does tend to oversteer though still. How are we doing for acceleration? Is it still maintaining the, what's it, 6.6? I mean, I could get it to 6.7, but that's slower. I mean, I can do 6.5, I believe, still. And I want that 6.5. 6.7, but no. It was doing 6.5 before. Maybe I've lost that. Maybe I can only do 6.6. I just feel like we want to keep this on the high end. We want to keep it as best as we can on the high end. At high speed, maybe. Okay, can you go a bit higher? No, it just doesn't. It loses speed if I do that. And I mean, what are we looking at here? So we're looking, if we want to keep this running at high speed, I think we do want this stuff to be a bit more straight line speed bias. And I think what's going on here, it's kind of using that as like rudimentary traction control. So, you know, longer gearing. That way it won't put as much power, it won't dump as much of a 410-ish horsepower down. Ooh, we've got 6.9 miles per gallon. This is excellent. That is definitely something to do. I have successed. Interesting. So widening the track has put the drivability up. Ah, so the rear dampers get too stiff if I lower that. Do we want these to be stiffer? Or do we want leafs to be softer? Because I think the leafs can get away with being softer more so than other technologies that are around. Because leafs are just inherently extremely stiff in how they are set up. 15.3. Okay, that should work. And I mean, as I say, the rears are coil, so the rears I feel will have to inherently be a little stiffer than the front to be in balance. And I haven't checked, I mean, you're talking about this weight balance, I haven't checked. 56.5 front is actually more heavy on the front than I would have thought. Not awful though, there have been worse. I think like 57 front, it's not great, but you can make that kind of weight balance handle. It's not the most terrible thing to ever have graced the automobile landscape. I mean, I feel like there's front-wheel drives out there that are probably over 60% front, so even though they're front-wheel drive, this thing should be drivable. Just stiffen up that back end a little. And then we have this. Like, as I say, just really trying to level out the leaves and the, what do you call it? The coils. So the car tends to oversteer. As I was saying, we have not got camber, but we can use the toe to try and bring back a little of our handling. So we've got, yeah, we've got a lot going on the handling fix here. All of this front toe, which I would say is probably too much, but as I say, we don't get camber. Everything has to be done with toe or perhaps tyre width, which I don't really want to lose. But maybe it is better to just lose a bit of tyre width. I really don't know. 16.5. So lower the rear toe. If we go 16.5. Seems like the front toe is where it's at. Okay. Like, I don't like running so much toe. Is it even complaining about it? It actually isn't. I don't like running so much toe, but if it makes the thing generally more stable, that is worth it. Then we're going to need to sort the brakes out and the acceleration. I mean, it may have hit the acceleration having the... Yeah, imagine if I end up getting 6.7 just by virtue of this is how we have to make it handle. Okay, it looks like we might be getting 6.7 for acceleration. That might be the best it can do with this current tune and stuff. I think it is. I think we're stuck on like 6.7 0 to 60 just because I've tried to tune it and that's all it will do. We're not quite doing 6.9 miles per gallon. We are getting 6.6 there. So with a bit of tweaking. 6.6 is possible. I mean, it was still doing 6.9 miles per gallon, which it is no longer doing. That's disappointing. I think I want that to be, as I say, I want to keep it in the rev. So if I can lower the gear spread a little, just to try and keep this in the high RPMs as much as possible without losing acceleration. Oh, we've got 6.5. Excellent. So we've got our acceleration back. As I say, we want to keep this in the kind of positive gear range, would I say? Nah, so we can't really, we can't have the first gear any better. Okay, so 6.5. Somewhere, I think like 40 is probably best for just generally keeping this in the revs. Like, it's not perfect, but I believe personally, of all the things I can do, like, I could have done a lot worse for overall gearing tuning. It is in the power. It is doing about as good straight line speed as I'm going to get at 6.5 0 to 60. So that's something. We've got 4 seats. Premium CD player, naturally. I think the handmade interior is hitting it, but as I say, I could find lighter bodies, but this one I can get a nice wide track and I can have the thing actually functioning. I might actually go with a blue roofline. That might look good. Blue roofline on a... I don't know if I want it to be a different thing. Probably less flake on the roofline, if that makes sense. 56.5 there. The rear brake force is very high. So... we have 420 there. Can try increasing the pad type. Basically, yeah, this is all going to be about sportiness. I don't want it to oversteer too much. I think the suspension setup is decent. We are on hard tyres, but I've made them as wide as I possibly can, like 395s, and the thing does still accelerate, so I don't think it's taking too much acceleration having them out wide. Anyway, my point is, if we can get these tyres just so massive that they're going to grip, then that is one issue sorted. We have got to use our full carbon ceramics though, that's for sure, because if we don't, who knows? So how is it slowing? I mean, it's probably not going to be exactly stable. 44.5, that is a lot better than it was, but cars on race tyres handle a lot better. I mean, I'll say that much now. So we can try and lower these. It shouldn't hit brake fade too badly. I mean, the rear brakes are not fading at all, or the front brakes, that is a very good thing. I guess because they're carbon ceramics, but lacking brake fade, that's not a bad thing. to be having. If it gets brake fade now, it's probably going to be the rears, not the fronts. And this is not going to make it any better for rate on the balance, but I think we can make it work. So we've got 19. Still not complaining about brake fade, even with me making these rear carbon ceramics absolutely minuscule. And then we'll probably need to reduce rear force. There's just so much more rear brake force than it actually needs. We have ramped up the acceleration by just tuning the brakes quite a bit, so it's almost 20. I think this thing is going to handle decently. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best handling car I've built with the random wheel prompt. It is not. But at least at the same time, I think this thing is going to have some kind of appeal, for lack of a better word. It's going to have some kind of a handling performance appeal, however you might say it. This is, it's not the best, but you know. Okay, pad type 100. Do we want more front force with by just brute forcing it with like, brake type? Yes. We want all the front force. That's not changing it at all, actually, on the sportiness score. Okay, 103. Do we want the rear force to change? 19.6. Okay. So, that's decent enough, I think. We have not got any brake fade, and I'll take that as a victory. Yeah, doesn't want those front ones any smaller. I mean, it is a heavy vehicle, as I say. 2,100 kilos. We have got slightly more weight to the front. Do we want these changing at all? Nope. Do we want that changing? 0.5? 0.7. Okay. These numbers are still fine. I don't think it's oversteering because of the toe adjustment apparently fixing the car. The front tyres are wide, the rear tyres are wide. This supposedly doesn't handle too bad. So what's the 44.2? I'll take that brake performance. It's not great, but at the same time, I feel the braking performance could be a lot worse than it is. Carbon ceramics saving it, really. I do want to tie this into the whole Maxwell law, so we will have a Maxwell cat somewhere, as it is a mandatory thing at this point. We could actually... I was going to put the blue on the lower end, like as an accent colour. Trim panels, window trim. Okay. Secondary car, there we go. For Narnia, is it? No, but I like that name, so we're calling it the Narnia colour. Okay. I think this can be made to work. Like a vibrant, plasticky lower end and on the blue, and then we make this green. Just to try and, like, use the randomly generated colours. So, secondary car. We've got rear bumper. Trim. It's got to be somewhere. There we go. It wasn't showing anything, it was just defaulting. So, this is our vehicle. That exhaust is massive. How would I do it? I feel like having it just in the rear bumper. We've got one exhaust, so I have to try and make this work. As I say, we don't want so much metallic here. We can still have a little, but I think 0.25, let's see. Maybe a 0.35? I want it to look more plasticky, so could try 0.3. I don't want to just, like, banish all of the metallic look, but there is something there. Can maybe make it less shiny, like 50%. That looks, I think, fairly like plastic, which is what I'm going for. And then the green can get some really nice, like, flake and stuff. Or the green, yeah. I did change the blue. I'm not going completely crazy. Yeah, like that looks good, I think. Or as good as I'm going to get with randomly generated colours. Sometimes it just generates nice colours and terrible colours together. And the blue isn't terrible if you got the right car for it. But it goes like, compared to this green, the green is like really nice as a shade. I'm not so sure I like the blue as much, but if we're going for like tacky plastic trim, then that will work. I mean, there's nice blues, I just don't think that's the nicest shade of blue. So, engine's high power density, yes, I get that. Is this still going as quick as it was? Oh dear, dual clutch, there we go. Fixed it. 6.6. Can we fix that? Nope, it just gets worse. There we go. I have fixed it. It is not as bad. It is now accelerating in under 6.6 seconds, apparently. Gotta save it. This is good. I believe. I mean, it's not like if you could just build any engine, this is probably not what you would go for. Don't know how the stiffness is going to be. It is not on a ladder frame as well, so that's another thing to bear in mind. It's got live axles front and rear, but not on a ladder frame. Like, it looks like it will be on a ladder frame. It is not on a ladder frame. The exhaust doesn't actually fit as badly. Like, it does hang down, but because the car is so high off the ground, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I've had to put a massive exhaust on it because just to get the 400 horsepower I so desperately desire. So there's got to be like a dual exhaust somewhere, and then we can just make that massive and in the middle. There we go. So just what I'm thinking, have this on the bumper and then enlarging it. Like, as I say, I don't think, only if you take it off-road and do some like serious rock crawling or something, is it ever going to have issues. But then it's not even on proper full-out off-road tyres, so I just don't think that's going to be an issue here. And that is a way. The exhaust is like hiding in there. The exhaust is hiding in the bumper. It'll probably set it on fire and then burn the whole exhaust, but that's an issue for another day. Or burn the whole bumper, should I say. That's an issue for another day. As I say, this is probably going to make cat noises, so we want to get a Maxwell somewhere in here. I mean, there is a few things I've learned. So if we go on the fine-tuning, I think there is like somewhere. I don't like changing the suspension, but there we go. Chassis tunnel size. We can make that smaller. I don't know by how much, but we can make that smaller. So it's just less obnoxiously massive. There we go. I can't make it smaller. Okay. There's just too much going on to make that smaller. I can get it on 0 and it covers all the exhaust and everything, but just. So, firewall position, this was it. We can move that forwards. About as forwards until it, like, no longer hides the engine. But it's not a gargantuan engine, so we can move that forward a fair bit. Gain some interior space. Interesting, that gets larger. The centre tunnel seems to get larger. I move that. No, I think I'm just imagining it. So, yeah, that wiring, does that stick through? I don't think it sticks through to a noticeable level, because there is some wiring on the back of the engine. I don't think it sticks through to a level you'd really notice it. If I change the centre tunnel size, does that still... Oh, I think I might be able to get that smaller now. That's rather interesting. I can't get it smaller by much, but if we move that back as well, nothing's going to be showing there in the interior, and I've still managed to make the chassis tunnel a little smaller. Okay, this is good. I am definitely like pushing the limits of what I can fit, but I think it's going to work. The rear firewall position. Am I adjusting that correctly? No, I think I'll just leave that on 0. I think I'm just messing with it too much. So there we go. I mean, the window transparency can be changed. So if we just show that. I want the window transparency to be more transparent because I have got to build the Maxwell wagon. Wouldn't usually mess with the interior, and it's going to take a lot more time. But anyway, I think if we go with like 8.5 or 0.850, I think that's good for transparency. Like, it's not completely transparent, but it should work. Now, I'm going to... going on 2 hours to just build a Maxwell car. Where's a door card? Interior 3D, that'll be it. Oh, can get some nice sporty seats here. Sports 01, or do we want that? I think these are like modern Land Cruiser seats, but I can see them working. Even if it's like a bit off the year I'm going for cosmetically. So we'll go 3D. Like, it's got 2 seats in the front and rear, so it'll just be 2 of these captain chairs, as they call them. So the seat belt is there. I mean, I believe the seat belts go more to the middle, do they? I don't know. I'm thinking outside now. So this is going to be quite a large, comfortable vehicle. Wait, is there no rear doors? We have got a rear row of seats, so it's probably a good idea, but I don't know if we have any body choices here. We do, okay. Hopefully this won't change. Yes, it doesn't change that much, that's good. I'm not sure if it just changes visually to have doors, or if it actually changes for weight. The weight may have changed, I don't know. Everything's still working, so it's not like I've completely messed up the balance of the car. I mean, there's also this one. That's counted as an SUV, but it's got like a removable cover there. At times like this, I don't know. I would usually let the wheel decide, but I feel like to be an SUV, I feel this needs to have the like 5 doors, you call it? I feel like personally that's what it should be as an SUV, and there's only one 5-door body. So I'm just going to use that as my logic. So, you can probably try moving that a little. This is a large body. Like, I didn't realise, honestly, while I was building it, I know the specs, like 23-inch wheels, are massive. This car is genuinely huge. And as I say, I just somehow didn't realise that it's as massive as it is. Not going to go massively in depth with this. I could give it, like, blue seats. That would actually be a way of using the blue RGB, where I wouldn't have to mess with a whole two-tone and stuff, because I could just add interior bits, but I don't know. Honestly, I might just keep these seats the colours they are. They're not terrible looking, so I can probably just leave them that way and design the interior around the seats. Granted, I do feel like they're small, but what am I supposed to do? Because they're probably like the actual size of them seats. I think it's okay. Like, as I say, we're going to put Maxwell's on those seats, because that's obviously what you do. I might put some blocks underneath so it actually just makes some kind of sense as well, why they're floating off the ground. We have floors. I could put a floor on. There's actually just these edge ones. They look like they would help quite nicely. Go with 3. We can probably remove the body because that chassis will stay. I mean, I could go with like more of a brown trim on the carpets and stuff. That might work. So move that out maybe. Not going to change the overall dimensions of it. It's just trying to get this whole thing together in a timely fashion. We do it all for the Maxwell. So we've got the Maxwell Mobile, which is the pickup truck. I think we'll build the Maxwell wagon. I think I've said that. Maxwell wagon. And the brand is Wheel. I'll probably have a capital there. Wheel. So we can mirror that. Wherever the mirror is, there we go. So, I feel like if we could get some kind of just, like, brown cloth to try and match the seats. I think orange you can kind of, yeah. One of these. That's a bit more orange. That should do. It's a bit bright, but a bit brighter brown than the seats. But I think we can make it work. And as I say, just throwing a simple interior together. I'm not going to put the most effort into it, just enough to get the thing functional and actually looking decent. I will change the carpet colour because there is a carpet on here. So I will match that to the other side so it looks more like one piece than it did. And then the Maxwell bed will have to go in the back, which I can do. I did that before. And then we can have Maxwell's on the seats as well. So, mirrors. Might as well add some mirrors. Are any with indicators on? These will do. Kind of truck-like mirrors, but it is a truck of sorts. So we can flip them horizontally. There we go. Is that's on 3D. Do we want 2D? Does 2D actually work here? I think if we have these on the front of the doors. Do we want that there? I think if I raise that up a little, pivot it, that looks decent. So I could do blue actually. I don't know if that looks any good. Probably not. I'll probably just use the green. This might be okay off-roading beam. I don't know, honestly. These cross-ply tyres are far too wide. Like, cross-ply tyres should not be this wide. They should be radials. But anyway. There's door handles as well. I've fallen onto this, so might as well use them. I feel like I used these same door handles on the Maxwell wagon. Not Maxwell Mobile. That was it, yes. This is the Maxwell wagon. Hey, at least there's a sense of consistency there. If I raise them up, actually, I think they'll line up on both the front and the rear. Ah, there we go. Nope. So, there we go. There are our door handles. I think this is coming together okay. It's not perfect, but I feel like the blue does stand out a little over the green, but I'm doing what I can with what I have been given. So the interior 3D. As I say, I'm just going to throw a pre-made dashboard on. Which one looks like it would work? I think this one. It's kind of generic, but I think that's why it works. Which ones have we got also? Yeah, I mean, there's more interesting dashes, but I just feel like this generic one actually works. Could go with more luxury. I guess that's what this car actually kind of is, a luxury car, but still. Maybe if I make this a little larger. Then would that... Yeah, I think the steering wheel would line up a little if I made it larger. So just not much larger, just enough to kind of fit in the car. I mean, as I say, the steering wheel or anything here is not going to move. I guess you could do that with the invisibility and stuff, but for now I want to make it work. Can go with 3D, get like a circular thing, just to try and finish this off. Can rotate that. Like, however, we've got there. There we go. Nope, there. Now it is rotated, we can go 3D. Like, I don't know exactly how this is going to line up for colour, because I'm not changing the colour of a lot of this stuff, just for convenience and time constraints. We do it all for Maxwell. Pivot that. If I bring that out, actually, as I say, I'm just cutting corners where I can at this point. Because I have to try and, like, make this look like an actual interior. Without burning too much time. It's not going to have a roof or anything. Just enough that I need, so... Glossy plastic, or is it matte plastic? Okay, that lines up well enough. I mean, it looks like a dash now that fits in the car. With just one piece being resized, I've done it a little better. So, we need some door cards. And it is starting to take shape. I mean, as I say, I'm not trying to take too much time. So, there is off-roads. If we could find, like, some for 80s off-road, maybe. That would do. 80s sedan. There is off-road somewhere. 2000s off-road. 20s off-road. So we have 2000s off-road. I think that's going to have to do. Just something that's, you know, off-road. Thus kind of conforming with the overall aesthetic of the thing. Am I? I think I'm looking at this the wrong way. Like, literally just facing it the wrong way. If I go 2D... 2D actually kind of fits, but it doesn't. I think 2D means it's more 2D to the bodywork. I don't know. So... we have that, which is a little longer. $2,000s off-road. I feel like if I lengthen that maybe 2 ways here, and then I can try and fix this, but I just have to make this as a car. Just to add a little bit of Maxwell, I've gone way too far. I've gone way too far to add a little bit of Maxwell to this car. Can make that smaller and then that should fit, maybe. No. This isn't working for me. If I go 3D, like I probably should have. Yeah, 3D fixes it. Like, it does actually fit in the car at that point. And I feel like this is probably okay. You're not going to be seeing this anyway when you're driving. Particularly, I just have to get this into a state that looks like car. Have I mirrored it? I have not. I need to do that. So, I think there's another maybe. Yeah, so we can flip that. It still hasn't got a design though. Like, it's got an interior, but it's not got actual design. There we go. Okay, now is an interior, is it good? No. Is it pretty? No. But it's an interior. It's an interior and, you know, it has the stuff. I don't think I'll bother with putting anything under the seats. Oh, I will. I say one thing, I do another. It's literally under 3D. I just have to get a couple of blocks or something and mirror them, and that should give me what I'm looking for. So it's not a hard thing to do by any means. I am just being lazy. Can go make these... what was the other one? Fixture materials. We can make these like matte plastic or glossy plastic, just so they like blend in with the rest of the car. Because the seats are just floating, and I don't like that at all. I like to have some kind of consistency to the interior, even if it's missing pieces. It's like something you immediately notice when you zoom in on the interior. So it's not something I can really turn a blind eye to, knowing full well that that's the case. And as I say, it's not like I'm putting the most effort into this ever. I'm just doing enough that it falls into place. There we go. Ah! I grabbed the wrong thing. I think if I just do that, then we can mirror these when I've got this in position. And I feel like because of the way I move the seats, should be easy enough to do that again on the way. Because the seats are pretty much identical on both ends. Granted, yeah, they do show up in the back a little more, so we can shorten them. Minimal effort. That should work. So if we put the body on, that shouldn't show. No. Yes. Ow. Look, you're just being raised up. Because I'm lazy right now. So that is something. There we are. I feel like this is okay. That's all it is. But it's an interior. You know what? Actually, now I'm thinking of it, getting onto the exterior, we need a window for Maxwell. Actually, what we can do, we can have a sunroof on the front, and then we can have like a massive one across the back because Maxwell, and Maxwell needs it. So, stretch that back. Because Maxwell is the passenger, so Maxwell needs a massive sunroof, all for himself, or the many Maxwells I will probably put in this. I could probably put a slightly larger sunroof on. This is a large vehicle. Like, it doesn't have to be as large as the back one, but something like this. There we go. So we have our Maxwell window and we have our sunroof for normal people. That should actually be on 2D. On both of them, actually. I think they're on 3D, but they should be on 2D. There, now we can form with the body a little better. I don't think I want chrome around them. I do want to try one thing, though. If I can change that to, like, actual glass, translucent... Have I don't think it's got a headlight on. I don't want a headlight on the roof. There we go. I mean, it's kind of light, though, so... Don't know, it's like it's lit up or something. I don't know, it's working for now. There is our vehicle. You can actually kind of see the interior with that. It makes it a little more meaningful when you can see right through to the interior. What's that? I didn't know. So anyway, the Maxwell Mobile. I did have cat tail lights before. Not sure what I could do here. Because they were circular. I'm thinking, there is something I'm thinking of, but it is slightly different. So we can have maybe... I need to find little lights. Indicators would work if I changed colour. Can we get any of these that are like just one solid brake light or something? So we've got headlights. I think we need to use indicators. Because that's what we've got that will probably work. It's not going to be indicators, but if we change the colour here to the red colour, for example, and also change the internal one to a more red colour, this should work. So I'm going to have to try text with indicators. So this is probably not going to look all that great, but I can try. So that'll work. These are mirrored, so if I can do that, maybe flip that the other way. No, the other way there. Nope. Okay. I'll have to do it this way. It looks so terrible. I just want to make a letter M. Is that too much to ask? Oh dear. I've grabbed something on the interior. A common issue, really. The cat indicators were better. Kind of looks janky, but at the same time I don't hate it. Those are our brake lights, because Maxwell. And I did have the Maxwell text on the tailgate before. Not so sure it would work here. I might just change those, honestly. I might change those for the cat indicators. Because, in fact, I will. I just don't like them. Where's the delete key? I've lost the delete key on this keyboard because I didn't use it before. Ooh, I see something. No, I think they go the other way. So, gonna need some brake lights. There was one I used before. I'm not sure I want to use it again. I guess I might as well. I did have that one though, so like... Yeah, these can move out a little further as well and they still work. These are the better options, honestly. Spending so long on bits that don't need to be spent time on, I don't know. So, we've got door handles, we've got the mirrors, at least those are done. So we're going to use indicators again, but because there is, there's some nice ones that fit the right angle. Ooh, I didn't use them before, but they are literally like cat ears. I can use these. These are actually better than what I used before. So that will be on the front layer. Can probably bring that out, just so it like covers it a little better. And then bring that one in. So as I say, it's covered a little better by the other layer. That works. So we're going to have one of these is going to be indicator, which I believe should be the ones on the outside, personally, and then one's going to be one set, should I say, is going to be the indicators. And then we can have a little cat's face on it. Gonna make it like a Dodge Viper tail lights, but cuter. There we are. So then we can just select, because they're mirrored, it has done that. Like, I got the angle the same, pretty much, because it's mirrored. So then we can have the reverse light, should I say. So we'll go with that one. I mean, they're somewhere here. I'm going to just try and change them all to, like, some variant of white. Because that, as far as I know, like, that's how it works. Probably need that to be a bit less translucent, a little more textured, so to speak. That will probably do. I mean, it doesn't exactly match the other one, but they're never going to. And then we can have our text, and it will all fall into place. I mean, as I say, the more I do it, if only we could get a Maxwell number plate. I don't think you can. Okay, so we've got bumper bars and stuff, which we won't be using, because it's already kind of sorted in that regard. I just keep thinking this is body on frame, because it canonically makes sense. Not canonically, it just makes sense. So, text. Okay, there we go. I just used this before. It's easy, and it takes care of itself. And then we're going to need to add the wheel badge and all that stuff. So we can go MAX, where, like, doing this, okay, doing that, like, spacing it out, just a space between every letter. I think it makes it look more legitimate as, like, tailgate lettering. Now, I'm not just going to leave this devoid of Maxwell, so it's going to be at least a couple of Maxwells in this. The Maxwell Mobile too. No, the Maxwell Wagon, not the Maxwell Mobile this time. I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I've achieved here. As I say, it's not the prettiest car in the world, but it has the power of Maxwell compelling it. I mean, just on something I've built on stream, I think it is the nicest of the lot, just because it's actually got an interior. None of the others have an interior. Granted, it was not the easiest thing to model. So here we go, we've got the O, which is part of a wheel badge, and it fits often quite nicely, like an actual badge, even though this is just something I've made with lettering and stuff. Even though I've just made it with like lettering and maybe numbers, I think that might be a 0, it actually does work for what this vehicle is. Feel bad about putting the wheel badge on this because I've done it now. The wheel has decided what to build. I have just turned it into something that involves Maxwell because of course I would. Something like that, I think. As long as it's got the overall badge here, that's the main thing. It's not like very specific. I'm sure it's going to be misaligned slightly compared to one variant from the other, but even in reality you get these things that are not perfectly lined up. I think there's bigger issues with car design. There we go. I don't know. I can't really focus in on this all that well. Could maybe move it down a little. As I say, it's not going to be perfect alignment. It doesn't have to be. I just want it to look good enough. Although I keep thinking I put it too high up. There. That's good enough for me. So, the door handles. I think we can go with the front ones because having a keyhole on the like boot, trunk, handle, whatever you call it, is not unusual. There we go. Don't do it after the car has been on because it will burn your hand, probably. Yeah, as I say, not the prettiest, but it is a vehicle. It does vehicle things. Hopefully it'll make cat noises because of a supercharger. I could actually go with like a bonnet scoop on the front because sportiness. Can probably actually just remove that. That actually lets air into the bonnet then. Somewhere like that. I'm not sure I like the scoop. There we are. Maxwell will be powerful or something like that. Ooh, I see these. Yeah, they look okay. I'll go with some like more, not sealed beam, I don't know what the term is. Composite, I think. I mean, they've got more chrome on, and chrome is premium, so got to get that chrome. There we are. I don't know, I'm not sure I like these. I say. Feel like I made them too large. Like, maybe I should have just left them stock in terms of size. I can get the distancing right to the edge. That should be... yeah, that works. A little much chrome on the edge, but I think it works. So we have got to add a grill. I'm not going to go too far with grill details. I'm just going to do the stuff that needs to be done to make this look good. Because I do want to drive the thing. Don't want to spend too long and then get too tired to actually drive the car. So we'll remove that because there is something I'm going to do. Add a little bit of chrome. There we are. This should look okay. I mean, as I say, we can go... find where the inner grills are. Could go with some like honeycomb on. I quite like this. If I make it smaller and then I mirror it. There we are. Chrome and chrome. Mirror that. Try and merge these in the middle somewhat. Oh, I'm adjusting the wrong grill. There's like two grills laid on top of each other. trying to desperately focus on this. I think that's passable. There we go. And that lets air into the engine. We can add a lower grille as well. How would I add Maxwell? I could. I've had an idea. I've had a really kind of dumb idea, but I think I like it. So we will bring Maxwell text up here. If this works as well as I'm hoping, it will look amazing, but it probably won't. Is it on... No, it's on 3D. Dear me, it just doesn't want to show, does it? I might have to go with 3D, but I don't think it would curve. I'll try that. Like, see if just changing the text works. Now, I was going to have Maxwell, like, across a grill, but it doesn't seem to have worked. There we go, finally. I'll have to retype it, but... So it doesn't seem to like that. There we go. So we're going to hopefully have this. I don't think I'll fit fog lights this way, but that's fine. It'll get us some extra cooling while looking like the most amazing thing ever. Is this square? No. Maybe it'll have to do. Well, I've resized that. I think if I make this, like, body-coloured text person... Not text, like, body-coloured, grill. Which I guess could be a thing. So we can remove that. Try and select this. Go with a blue. Basically everywhere. Maxwell. I mean, the text, I should just be able to make that on a higher layer so it stays. I mean, it's not that clear that it is saying Maxwell, but it's the thought that counts. There we go. Maxwell. And there is not even a single Maxwell here yet, but we should have sufficient cooling at least for our 2-litre V10. Now, it will be time to add Maxwell. Because, I mean, it's somewhere, it's on 3D or something. I can actually add add a fuel cap. There we go. I mean, while I am at the stage of just finding the fuel caps by accident, why not try and add one? That's awkward. Can move it actually back, so then it will look a bit more natural just sitting here. Instead of really far forwards. Even if it will feed directly into a cap bed. It is a fuel filler cap. So, got the exhaust for like too large an exhaust, which goes straight over the rear axle. I mean, this thing had better be quick after I've put so much effort in. I will find where the Maxwell is. It's somewhere. That's an interesting seat. I was going to say put it on the roof with Maxwell, but I feel like that would just ruin the design I'm going for. There is, somewhere there's like benches. Here we go, the traditional benches. I think I'll go with like a different bench here. To what I went with before. I went with that one, well, brass era seat as I think it's called. I went with that before, but I can change this. Maxwell needs a variety of beds. You know what I can actually do? I can put the blue colour on the bed. Like, that will tie it together, I think. So if we go make that smaller. It has to be large enough to fit a cat. Like, that is what I'm going for. So then we can widen this out. There is going to be gaps and stuff. This isn't about to be perfect, but I can try and make it work. So we can go, move that forwards, flip it the other way. Yeah, that way. I mean, I'm not going like deep down into wheel wells or anything. It should be working now, as it sits. So Maxwell will sit on this bed. Now, you know what I'm doing? I'm completely missing the obvious. There needs to be a colour. So if I just, actually I think I have the RGB, not RGB, the hex code up here. So I can make this work. Copy to clipboard. I'm going to just make a new colour. And I'm going to actually use, I'll use cloth or leather, I think cloth. Because it's a cat bed. And then we'll enter the hex code. And I messed that up. Okay, I have messed up the colour. So that's something. There we go. We've got the blue now. Actually, that doesn't look bad. I was thinking that the Sakura 8 ball had answered a question from ages ago, just a moment there. So we have got that. And I'm just thinking how I'm going to go about these seats. So I don't actually need to use blue on the bodywork because as I basically made the wall to myself, I have to incorporate all the wheels all the colours that the wheel gave me. Now, the Maxwell bed can be a way of incorporating those colours. So, you know what? I'm just going to use this. Maybe it's a cheaty way of having a full green car, but I think it works. If it gave me like blue and white, I would have a field day. Just making the Core 2 Duo vehicle. But until that happens, we will have to do things as we can. So, there we go. There is our colours. I mean, the Maxwell beds are going to need some adjustment, so then we can put a Maxwell on them. I would say trim the seats in the front. No, the Maxwell bed must draw attention to itself. So I think that's the same bench without the edges, so this will work. I can't seem to... Oh yeah, I can. There we are. So... I mean, if I'm to do this... I don't think this is going to work. I think I'm just going to have to copy this one because it'll probably look better. So then we can make this smaller, perhaps. Make it a little taller, and then we can squash it down, and we can probably just mirror this. I mean, I don't know how large I can make the Maxwell, but there will be a Maxwell. There has to be a Maxwell. Because he's the main character. I mean, the bed's sticking out, clipping through the edge a little. That's not too ideal, but still. I think that's actually a little better than the last Maxwell bed we did. And we need our cat wherever he is. Found him. Maxwell. I've made you a nest, Maxwell. There you are. You will go into your Maxwell bed. I had like a giant Maxwell before this large, but I don't know. I mean, cats try and fit in whatever bed is too small for them. I want him to look out the back. I feel like he's a little large, but I can try and fit the Maxwell in anywho. Yes, the giant Maxwell. It's fitting through there. I think we'll have to make the Maxwell a little smaller. So, because on the other one there was so much space in like the pickup truck bed, he's just not going to fit in this bed. So, truck bed? No, this SUV but rear. Maxwell must be comfortable. Maxwell is our king. I don't know. Oh dear. I don't know if that's yeah, I forgot it's Control Z to undo. I kind of forgot that. Trying to remember what key it was. Maxwell can spin around. I do feel like I've gone a bit insane with this whole thing, but he needs to be comfortable. Managed to fit him in the car at least. I think if I just push him out towards the back a little, and then maybe rotate. And now the ear is sticking through. Why can't I just fit a cat in a car? If I just pivot this a little more. That's not the worst. I could have done a worse job of it. He doesn't seem to be sticking through the window. I don't know, are the whiskers? I think it just about fits that way. Like, that doesn't look too bad. And we need the little Maxwells as well. Because, of course, you can't just have a large Maxwell. We have to have the little ones in here. Did I make extra Maxwells? I think I did. We don't need that one. We can just duplicate the little one here. Little Maxwell can go at the edge. I mean, there's not many ways to fit this in. Could try tilting him a little, I don't know. I have spent far too long. I feel like I've spent an entire hour just sorting out the interior of the Maxwell mobile. But it was all worth it. Because we do it all for Maxwell. Maxwells have passenger seats as well in this case, which I am apparently removing. Maxwell. Maxwell number 3. Maxwell can go there, can look out the window or something, which he probably isn't tall enough for. The only seat that doesn't have a Maxwell is the front one, because that's where we go. Maybe if I, like, squash that down a little. This will be fun, I think, to drive. Because if nothing else, it will have the charms of the Maxwell. And I mean, hey, there's 4 seats. I've done what the wheel asked of me. This one can go on the other side. I could actually mirror them, but I don't know. You know, it would be easier if they actually work as being mirrored. Oh dear. If they work as being mirrored, because the seats are mirrored, so there's no reason in particular the Maxwells can't be mirrored. This one can be looking at the driver. I'm not sure. This might be the last one I actually bother to do an interior on. It's not even just me being obsessed with getting the perfect interior. It's also that it takes time. I mean, the original Maxwell Mobile didn't have an interior. There we go. The Maxwells. I quite like this. As I say, it's not perfect, but it has our Maxwells in. And that makes this car so much better than it otherwise would have been. So, I think the wheel is attached to the PC. Oh, it's 6.7 again. I'm thinking, is it doing this because the Maxwells are weighing it down? Probably not. There we go. Lower that. We've got 6.6. I mean, at this point, I could keep fighting, trying to get it faster, but I don't think it's particularly worth it. I mean, that will do, honestly. 6.6 isn't the greatest acceleration, but the gearing is fairly consistent. It's not complaining in particular. Braking is okay, if not the best in the world. So, should be able to export this. It's been a long and lengthy process, mostly the Maxwell part of it. But I do believe we have built a fun vehicle here. It's crazy to see though, because the last one just had a giant cat bed in the back of a pickup truck. This is actually a fair amount more detailed, if kind of unfinished. I mean, it's finished, but it's missing a lot of detail when you zoom in and stuff. It's just kind of a case of do not zoom in on it, it will not look good. Both the Maxwell Mobiles don't have any aerodynamic features though, so that is something. Now I will move to BeamNG, as I do. Can maneuver that over there, because I don't want to block the speedometer when I drive the thing. I did just export it. I remember actively exporting it, but my head is like, did you export this? Even though I have a kind of poor memory. 2 hours 40 of building the Maxwell Mobile. Have I... BeamNG just says launching. Maybe if I move some of this stuff. Ah, there we go. It's taken a while to bring the menu up, but it has done it. So if I move that... There we go. I'm sure it's aligned perfectly. I obsess over this stuff. Okay, that should work. So, if I close that now, we do have to go on the test track. So we go more time trials. Let's hope after that massive design process, I can still remember how to drive. I'm going to just search Maxwell. There we go. The Maxwell Mobile. That made cat noises when you lifted off the power. Well, technically supercharger noises, because that was twin charged. But I like to think of it as being cat noises. It actually did sound like a cat, though. Even though it's a supercharger, it sounded like a cat crying. That was probably the best car the wheels built, and I guess I'm trying to imitate the success of that. Sometimes Beam doesn't take long to load this, sometimes it takes a while. So it's anyone's guess. I can stop the music now. There we go. Ooh, I quite like the sound of this. I think it's audible. I'll turn OBS up a little just because I want the car to be audible. I think if I go with that, just over -20. I think that's going to be audible. For some reason the steering wheel is white. Everything else, I think, is exported fine, honestly. I'll take those odds. So, I'm going to sort this out. I mean, I'm sure there is a shortcut on the keyboard. Okay, so we've got Comfort, Sport, Off-Road. I think I'll put it in Sport anyway, but you can't turn it off because, oh dear, my arm has got kind of like stuck in position. If I have a moment, because I don't want to drive like that. It's like I just had it in holding the mouse in the same position, and it is not liking that now. Come on, arm. Okay. For better or worse, I'm going to have to try driving it. Okay, so... Right, I messed that up. Because it's, I think because it's a dual clutch, I kind of have to do it on the wheel. Okay, it's not got an issue of overheating, which is, interestingly, it just did it when I was revving it out in neutral. It's fine now. There is some understeer, but I guess if the alternative was oversteer, oh dear. Yeah, as I say. It feels almost like I'm driving it on ice. Oh my. Maxwell, you do like to slide. Okay, I think maybe I have to just go a little gentler on the power. Maybe even try a higher gear. Because this thing just doesn't grip as I was hoping. I thought massive, like, 395 tyres, this thing was gonna grip. I think it's okay. I think as long as I respect this vehicle, it will be quick enough. So, fairly gentle. And then when we know it's straight, we can go for it. Got our Maxwells in the back, looking out. They do look a lot more crowded than in the other car, but they're also more protected. Of a truck, should I say. Whee! So we've got 6 gears. I think the other one had a... I don't know exactly what type. I think the other was a 5-speed for the Maxwell Mobile. Okay, it's fairly stable here. It's not the least stable thing, but you can tell it's kind of sacrificing a bit of stability in the name of sportiness. It does not handle badly, though, as I say. I spoke too soon. I'm going to have to restart. Like, honestly, that was me expecting too much from the car. Still should have a good 2 laps anyway. It kind of just starts and then there's no power. I guess that's my mistake tuning it. It's fine when it gets going. Same as it almost overheats. It's almost like it's the ventilation on the front saves this from overheating. Oh dear. Okay, so I've got to remember this is not the most refined, should I say, driving experience in the world. I'm sure with a bit of tuning it could get better. Fact is, it is still on hard tyres, and this is a lot louder than I was anticipating. At least it will be fixed in the edit. Come on. Going out a bit wide there. But it's okay. It really doesn't like staying in second gear as much as I was expecting. And I guess that's, as I say, my fault for tuning it in such a way. I think if I keep it around here at a fairly consistent speed, second will be fine. Like, there just isn't a whole lot of grip as I expected. It does go quite well when you get it going on the straightaways. A little better than I expected even for a 2-litre engine, but it just isn't as stable. So like, I can't go through here as quick as I would like because I require that stability to keep the thing slowed. And it does slide a little under brakes, which I can't say is an entirely bad thing. There is uses for it, but it does require a lot of care to make it around the corners. Like you see here, it's already going off because I was just not being careful enough. Like, I could have gone a lot worse, I'll be honest, but it's, you can tell it's on hard tyres. You can tell it's not on something more grippy. It's like the Maxwell Mobile was on cross-ply race tyres, and you could tell. So despite the kind of iffy suspension setup on that, it did push to pretty good levels of speed. And I mean, it was the second most powerful car, and then I built another car which beat it, as it turned out. Which was a body-on-frame kind of super coupe type thing with front-wheel drive. Just generally, if a thing has like race tyres of any kind, it does seem like it puts it ahead massively, but it's up to a wheel whether it allows race tyres or not. It hasn't dealt me great tyres here. It could have been meaner though. Oh dear. Okay, it recovered there, had a bit of a lift. I think I just have to learn to not go full power everywhere. If you're not going full power, it's typically fairly controllable. Oh dear, the brakes, they're not racing tyres, and you can tell from the brakes. Alright. It also doesn't like it when you dump the power, like... I mean, I'm actually in high 2. This is all-wheel drive. Actually, you know what? I've forgotten that, so I'm going to give it another one, I think, with the 4x4 system engaged, because I left it in high 2, and that means it's actually rear-wheel drive. So that would actually kind of explain why the thing is oversteering, because it's only sending the power to the back. If this has a 4x4 system, I feel I might as well utilise it. But even so, if it's quicker somehow with the 2-wheel drive, it's worth a try just to see if I can actually get it faster here. But there is still a 4x4 setup. It's probably better using it. That's probably where the speed is. Like 7.5 seconds, was it? No, 6.6, I think. That is not the fastest, but there is acceleration here. It's just because it's a heavier vehicle that it doesn't go any quicker than that. And also, it's not like on the best tyres or anything. Now, factoring in that this is rear-wheel drive mode on something that could be all-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't control this. I've got a lap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it another one, but this time, I'm going to engage high 4. Come on. Well, I don't know what's going on there. It's driving. It's driving, but it just had no go off the line. So, I'm not going to make the speed on the first lap, that's for sure. I do think it's the gearing, just not being tuned quite right. Come on, Max. Oh, yes. This is a lot nicer with a 4x4 setup, which I should have honestly engaged from the off, but I didn't. Yet, all-wheel drive has saved this car. It's like, maybe there's a reason why you would only use rear-wheel drive, but round a track does not seem to be it. You do have to shift down. Like, the gearing on the low end is just too high, even if it technically makes acceleration better. But now I have learned that. Ah, where's the lag? It does seem to be lagging on there. I think it might be all the Maxwell, seriously. But this is a good vehicle. Right, so as I say, you can't go too fast down here. The reason I'm driving this again, though, is all-wheel drive or 4x4 setup, which I wasn't using, and I really should have been. Because as I've seen now, there is speed here. So I'm going to have to brake. Yeah, the whole thing is just so much nicer with the extra grip, which I guess you could say it's not gained any grip, but it's able to drive with more grip because of the all-wheel drive 4x4 setup technically. It's driving just generally better. Like, it's able to put down power to an extra set of wheels, and if you've not got the most tyre grip, which this doesn't have, that makes a massive difference. We do have good brakes, though, which is also helping. Not the most impressive because it is hard cross-ply tyres, road tyres, but then it is going quickly enough. I doubt this is going to be the quickest car I've driven around here, but it feels nice. Like, it does not feel bad. It drives like how you would expect a decently well-tuned, large American 4x4 type thing to drive. And that's honestly all I could have hoped for. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I mean, it doesn't make cat noises. The other one did. Yeah, there's just no cat noises. The one made, like, really obvious cat noises. There we go. Should have shifted down earlier, but it's okay. I didn't lose that much speed. This is just so much easier, though. Accelerate. I think I can hold on the track, yeah. Like, this just doesn't have a hint of oversteer to it. But when I was in rear-wheel drive mode, it felt like it would. So, it seems almost like it's been tuned as a all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive car, for lack of a better explanation. See, even there, I went off the course, it kind of gripped. It didn't grip near as well as if it was on the track, but I was able to recover it quite easily. I can tell there's a lack of torque, but honestly, with a 2-litre engine, it is not bad. A 2-litre engine powering a 2100-ish kilo car, this is not bad. See, it almost revs to 9,000. For what this is, things could be a lot worse. Yeah, so I'm going to have to ease off the power around here. The next corner is deceptive, so I don't want to go full attack. I'm going to brake pretty hard, try and use those brakes, and it just tightens out of nowhere. Like here you'll see, I was being careful, so I managed to take it. If I weren't being careful, I would have flown off at some point there. This is genuinely nice, though. With the 4x4 engaged, I didn't like it as a rear-wheel drive, but 4x4 engaged, it is nice. And that was me going round the corner a bit late, first gear. If you're not in the right gear, you do feel that lack of torque. Once it's going, at the high end, the high-end torque is enough for moving this car. You do not want to get caught on the low end, though, at any cost. It just does not feel nice. Like, even there, in slightly lower RPMs, you notice you're not in those high RPMs, which a car really does like. So it's a very curious way to drive an actual large SUV, because you kind of see this vehicle and you expect it to have low-end torque, but it just doesn't have it. It has torque, but none of it is on the low end. It's all at the top of a rev range. Taking those bumps, it wobbled a bit, but it took them. I mean, I forgot this is not on a ladder frame, so maybe it doesn't have the stiffness of a ladder frame, which ladder frames can be pretty stiff. And unitaries can be pretty wobbly. This is one of the better unitaries, I think, as in it's not a super flimsy material, but it is still a unitary. So, with, like, partial carbon fibre. So it's not the stiffest setup for track work. It isn't bad, though. It feels entirely acceptable for what it is. Gonna shift into first. You see, as I say, you're not in the right gear, you do feel it. It's like off the line, it just wasn't going. So I have to do adjusting the gears a little as I find the gears while the wheel is upside down. That was gonna mess with my brain a little. I mean, it sounds nice. Like, it sounds like a V10, kind of, if a little hushed. The other one was the Maxwell Automobile. I kind of feel like that would be slower. It isn't going to be slower. But it is nice to drive, as I say. And for a kind of, like, random build, this car could have been so much worse. Like, I like it. I like driving it, and I like not going off the course like that. Okay, I think maybe I can drive this still. It took a hit, but I think it's okay. Kind of. Yeah, the power of Maxwell compels you. At least, as I say, Maxwell is more protected in this. Before, Maxwell had a little accident when I tipped the car over. Good. I feel like this isn't actually the slowest this car will have been, but man. You see, I hit that wall there. It wasn't because I wasn't steering, it's because this car is just not really going the direction it should anymore. I mean, the steering is here, but for lack of a better term, intermittent. It kind of works when it wants to work. Have I fixed it actually by hitting that wall? I might have actually fixed it a little by hitting that wall. I'm going to have to try and keep the revs up while also actually making sure this thing takes a corner. Yeah, it's almost like I've detached the front end a little and it's just hanging on with one piece of metal to the back and they're not like properly communicating. Still, we have made it to the finish line even with my little accident. Got a pretty decent second lap. So, where has the Maxwell wagon gone? 2:28. The Maxwell Mobile is quick, so the fabulous road car, the Brick is speed. And then there's Maxwell Mobile, which is our third fastest. How have we done with that? So the Maxwell Mobile is like 2:22, 2:25, 2:28 is our best. So we're just over 6 seconds slower, which for what this vehicle is, have to factor in it's a lot heavier. Like, I think the Maxwell Mobile was like 1,600 kilos. So we're like half a ton heavier. And although it makes more power, clearly, that is not the strong point of this car. It doesn't have cooling issues unless you're like revving it out in neutral. Then it has all the cooling issues. So if we reset this, I will get the other Maxwell Mobile out so we can compare it. The one that's actually called the Maxwell Mobile. Wherever I have hidden it. There we go. And I do like it. Like, that is only rear-wheel drive, honestly. Just listen to this. I love this thing. It just makes Maxwell noises. And he has a hat as well. Not in the other one, because I was kind of like... It was a lot harder to do the interior and stuff. Which I admittedly brought some of it on myself, but still. I think this actually is better looking as well. But no less. Both of them have their charm, I think. The charm on this is somewhat more logical, though. Whereas on this, it's just that it's an insane thing. So double wishbones on the rear and leaf springs on the front. And it honestly handles a lot better than you would think for such a messed up suspension setup. This is also rear-engined. It has turbos. And I think it's a turbo and a supercharger. Or something along those lines. Can't remember. I think it might be a flat 6 as well, if I remember correctly. No, I think inline 6, sorry. I'm trying to remember all this stuff now. And then this is a V10. So, as I say, this is actually more like a legitimate American off-roader in its nature. And it isn't like it's lacking fun or anything. This thing is fun to drive, but I'm actually on low 4. Interesting. It seems to handle better on low range than it does on high range. But it runs out of speed very quickly. That's very interesting. So I may have to like restrict the top speed of this or something if it comes to that, or just lower the gearing a little. Like, I don't know exactly how this is going to handle when I'm done with it, but it is overall pretty nice. I am curious though. If I think that's a way onto the dirt track I see just around the corner. So if I can just take this on a bit of dirt, see how it handles there. Because if anything, this would have a bit of an advantage on the dirt with the kind of overall tyres and suspension config and stuff. And, you know, like, it's on leaf springs front, coil rear. You would think this would do decently off-road. It does seem like it's okay here. Like, I'm not sure it would be performing well, but it does feel like it has a lot of grip. Jump this, yes. How will it land? Surprisingly good, actually. I'll try and find, like, legitimate dirt. So we go fly about. There is a dirt track somewhere on this map. So if I can take it to there, then we'll have something. There's a mountain pass, but this isn't, as we've proven, this thing isn't like the absolute cornering god of a vehicle. It's just good. Okay, so we've got some dirt here that we can race around. I'll give this a try. Like, it's not a full racetrack, but there is a decent amount of dirt to test it on. Where have I gone? Ah, there we go. You actually sit in here and you can see the interior and stuff. Like, I think for a brief amount of time, I did a decent job with the interior. You can tell, like, the cat bed and stuff there is thrown together, but, like, this is a decent enough interior, I think, for the time. You can even sit here, and it's, like, actually decently positioned just from a off-the-go camera. Like, as I say, it's something just messed up with this gearing. Once you get it going, it's fine, and it is actually fairly quick. It's actually very hushed on the interior. I think it's because it's got a handmade interior. So you cannot hear a thing there. From the outside you can. Like, I would say it's pretty good on the dirt, honestly. They are still hard tyres. Like, they are not actual dirt tyres, but there is a fair odd amount of grip just due to the massive tyres. So again, if you, like, get this car out of all of the random cars, it's probably one of the better ones to take on a dirt track. Because I think it does handle, like, it just handles in general. It's quite good on the tarmac, quite good on the dirt. And I'm not saying it's going to be the absolute best at either of them, but as I say, just in general, this is a good balanced car. Which surprises me somewhat. I mean, I wasn't expecting this to be as good as it is. Now, if I rev this up... Ah, yes. It just doesn't like going. I think I might have broken it. Well, there we go. So, the power of Maxwell has compelled this car to actually be surprisingly good. So I will leave it here for today, allow the lights to shine, and I will say goodbye until